because we know how important it is to be able to connect with your advisor. So everything we do tonight, everything that everyone shows you is going to be taken directly from our website, mnwest.edu. That's where everything is. That's where you're going to access everything that you need. And if you just hover over current students, the very first option there is advising. You can click on that. And here we are. Each of you should know which campus you're associated with when it comes to your PSEO. And you can just click right here on that campus with your advisor to schedule an appointment with them. All right. So now that I showed you that, I'm going to let my friends here introduce themselves as well.
Jen, are you going first?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll let you go first because then I will go next.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Pamela Kitchens. I'm the advisor for the Pipestone campus, and I am also monitoring the chat for this. So if you have questions as we're talking tonight, go ahead and pop your questions in the chat and I'll make sure we get them answered.
All right, and I'm Jen Tufson. I'm the academic advisor on the Canby campus. So I'm gonna just go through some things like Pamela said. If you guys have a question, please just put it in the chat. You can do it to her privately or myself or Brian, or you can shoot the message to everybody. I see Pamela put in there our information for advisors already, so that's great. At the end of our presentation today, or orientation, I guess, we will put in a survey in the chat. So we would appreciate if you could fill that out just to let us know how we're doing, how we can improve. But it also allows you the opportunity to share your information with us. So if you want one of us to get a hold of you, we can reach out to you through that means. All right, so I'm going to first go into some different dates to be aware of and kind of go from there. So Brian, I am gonna, can you guys see my
Sorry, I'll
screen?
stop sharing.
Sorry. Can you guys see my screen okay? I'm gonna say yes because I can't see anybody at the moment. So first of all, like Brian said, you're gonna come to our website for pretty much everything. So your most used tab is gonna be the current students tab. So I'm gonna click here. Under the current students, there's this section over here with some student events that you can check out, student forms that I will go through in a little bit, but I want to show you right now our student calendar. So this is a calendar that's going to be for the full year. So you'll be able to see dates for fall semester as well as dates for spring semester. Just some important dates that I want to highlight is obviously the start of fall semester begins August 25th. So some of you, your high school classes may not begin until after that date, but you will, as a PSEO student, still need to log into your Minnesota West courses and complete them starting on that August 25th. Something to note is that if you are not logging in, not doing your work within that time frame, that start date, that first week, going into the second week, if you're not logging in, instructors can drop you from the course or do a FN, which is a fail no-show. So it's very important that you are you're logging in and completing what you need to do. The last day to add or drop classes on your own would be the Friday of the first week, August 29th. So you can add a class if you choose that week, but you can also go in and drop any of the courses. And then also, in addition to that, PSEO students get additional time to kind of test out the course. So they get a total of 10 business days to try the course. So if the following week you do not want to continue that course, it's not for you, it's not what you expected, you can contact your advisor and they can get registration to remove you from that course. All right, so moving on. Let's see here. Things that you would need to know. You don't really need to know about financial aid or anything like that, but there are different dates in here for days that campuses are closed. If you're doing online courses, obviously you can still continue to complete that work if it's a holiday or our campus is closed. Registration for spring semester for PSEO students, that begins November 1st. So there's a couple of things you're going to need to do now that you're PSEO students for the following semester. If you want to take spring courses, you need to submit your PSEO registration form. So the form that you've already submitted to us to take classes, you'll need to submit that every semester. And what happens is once we receive that form, we will in turn send you an access code. So you will not be able to register for courses for spring semester until you have that access code or any semester thereafter. So make sure that you are submitting those forms before this November 1st date if you have specific courses that you want to get into that may fill up quickly. All right, and then so there's a couple options. We talked about the drop add period, but I also want to talk about the withdraw period. So if a course is not going very well and you think you may be failing or there's certain situations in your life that are happening that you want to withdraw from that course, you can withdraw, which will place a W on your transcript. But the last day to do that would be November 25th. So if that's something that you want to do, just keep in mind that there is a final date that you have to withdraw by. And also keep in mind that if you do withdraw from a course, you'll want to take into consideration your eligibility. Oh, I can't talk. Your eligibility for your high school sports or other activities. So some of our high schools choose to consider a W and F on your high school transcript, which would leave you ineligible for your different extracurricular activities. And then finally, December 15th through the 18th would be our finals week. So final exams will occur that week depending on what your instructor has set up for you. So you will be completing your fall semester class by December 18th. And then you would not, for spring semester class, that would begin January 12th, just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of winter break you have. I also want to note that there is a winter term course that is an option for PSEO students, but I highly recommend that you talk to your high school counselors or your academic advisors to see if that's something that would be good for you. All right, so.
Jen, can I just add one thing quick?
Sure.
I forgot to mention this earlier, but Jen did talk about we are not super concerned with you guys and financial aid because you don't have to worry about that. But this came up a lot last year. You will see a balance due in your billing. Okay, if you go look at your billing, you will see a balance due for the classes and the books that you have. You do not owe that money. Your school owes that money, but we still have to have it tied to your account. So then we bill the school, they pay us, and then we wipe that clean. So if you as a PSEO student see that billing in there, it is okay. That's normal. You don't have to send anything or anything like that.
The only time to really worry about that is if you ever receive an email saying that you will be dropped from a course due to non-payment. Then either we don't have your PSEO form on file or just for some reason you're not tied to PSEO and we just need to make that right on our end, or we need to get your PSEO form. So if you ever receive an email saying that, please reach out to someone at the college right away. All right. Moving on. So we talked about dates and specific things, and now I'm going to go into student forms. So again, I'm just going to go over here. I'm still in the current students tab, and we're going to look at various student forms that may be important to you. So first off, I'm going to go to our admission forms. And in here, one of the forms that we have is an authorization to release student information. So why is this important for you? Well, you are now considered a college student, so therefore you fall under our Student Privacy Act. So in order for us to speak to your parents or guardians, you would need to sign this release of information to allow us to do that. So if they're calling, asking about a grade or anything related to your account, we cannot speak to them until you have signed this authorization to release information. So be sure to do that if that's something that you choose. So, and then the other form, for those of you that may be attending PSEOs like on a campus, so you may be like in the diesel program or electrical program or something of that sort, you will need to complete the immunization form. So out of there, you'll need to just have your tetanus available. So your tetanus has to be within the last 10 years, and then your MMR. So just make sure you have those dates available when you get into the form. And I'm just going to click on these forms. So you'll just log in with your STAR ID for both of the forms, complete the information as indicated, and then you would submit it. All right. Moving on to navigate. So again, I'm just going to click to get out of there to our current students. Scrolling down a little bit, just to point out, we have Blue Jay Days. If you guys are near a campus or going to in-person classes, there's a lot of fun activities you can check out here on each of our campuses. But this is kind of like where you're going to be at for accessing most of the items that you need for PSEO. But I'm going to go a little bit further and I'm going to talk about Navigate 360. So this is a new app that we've just launched for fall semester. You can download it to your desktop or you can download it to your phone, and it's a little bit more of an accessible way to access people at the college. So in there, you'll have your schedule. You'll be able to just check your schedule with a click. You'll be able to contact your instructors right from there, or you'll be able to contact me from there. You'll be able to shoot Brian a hand raise saying, hey, I need help with, I need accommodations, or you can message the tutors and say, hey, I need help with tutoring. So it's just, it's all of that right at your fingertips. So I highly recommend that you download this. It's a great option for students to have. And then another thing to note, I know you guys are just beginning your PSEO journey, but I always get questions of this at graduation time. You're graduating and you're going on to your next adventure in a new institution, and you're wondering like, hey, why aren't my college classes getting over to my new university? So I just want you guys to know that you need to request or purchase your official transcript to be sent. So easiest way to find that is just the search bar. You're going to type in transcripts, and then you will be able to go here to Parchment and order a transcript to be sent. Now, if you're going to college that's within the Minnesota state system, you do not need to purchase this. We can pull transcripts from other state institutions as long as it's not a private. So make sure that you are doing that if you need. And then you always can access your unofficial transcript in your e-services, which I will show you in a little bit. All right, so with that, I'm going to move on to e-services. Does anyone, before I go any further, does anyone have any questions? Or Pamela, are we good on the chat?
Yep, we've got one question, but it's book ordering related, so I thought we could address it later.
Sounds good. All right, so moving on. So e-services, a lot of you have probably already been in your e-services to register for courses. I hope if you haven't, you should talk with an advisor to get registered. But logging into e-services, you're just going to use your STAR ID and password. If at any point you can't get into this, or you can't get into your email or get your email set up, it's probably because you need to reset your password. So to do so, you can hit need login help, and then STAR ID self-service, and then this is where you can reset your password. Once you reset it, you'll also be able to see your STAR ID in case you've forgotten that as well. And that's also just an easy way to get to it, starid.minstate.edu. But a lot of times, students, if you're having issues with logging in, it just may be a matter of resetting your password. But to get into e-services, this is e-services. So up here, just to note, this is your student ID. So your student ID is different than your STAR ID. Your STAR ID is to log into everything, and you really want to keep that private. You don't want to share your star ID information with anybody. But this is how we would recognize you within different systems. And you're going to need your student ID number when we order books. It's going to ask for like an account number, and that's what they're referring to as your student ID. And this is where you can find it. The other thing, if you haven't already registered for courses, you can do so here. You can search for a course. If you have things in your wish list, you can select Review My Plan. I have been helping students find classes, so my wish list is long there. Under View Modify Schedule, you can, obviously I don't have any courses, but you can print your schedule in here. You can also, this is where you would go to drop or withdraw from your courses. So next to your course, if you've ever been in View Modify Schedule, you basically see like a little X there, and that is what you would select to drop it. And then I'm going to show you some academic records. So in here, you can, I just spoke about unofficial transcripts. You can run your unofficial transcripts at any time right here. Good times to do that is if you're going on college visits and you want to bring that with because you're talking to an advisor or you're talking to someone within that program and you want to show them classes you've taken, pull your unofficial transcript and take it with you. You can check your grades in here. So at the end of the semester, you will no longer, once the class is closed, you'll no longer be able to log into your D12 course shell. So you will want to come here to check your grades. I also want to note if you have certain things within your D12 shell specific to the course that you want to keep for further use or for future use, you can you should download those, especially like your syllabus, and keep record of that. And then you can run a degree audit or what we call student planners. So if you run this Open Degree Audit Student Planner, you'll be able to track like where you're at with your degree planner, where you're at with what courses you've taken based on the Minnesota Transfer Curriculum Guide. And if you guys want to break this down and look and plan out courses, like really meet with an advisor to go through that with you, check different institutions that you're planning to go to, make sure things are going to transfer correctly using transferology, like all the things. I'm just showing you that you can access this on your own, but to really maybe work with an advisor on planning classes. All right. And like Brian said, sorry, you can go,
I was
Brian.
gonna say, Jen, can you show them, since you're right there, where their student ID is?
Yep, I just at the yep, it's always at the top of your screen. Or at the top of your e-services. So and then I was gonna say when Brian was talking about bills and payments, so if you clicked on your bills and payments, you would be able to see that you owe, it will say you owe the college money, but you don't owe the college money. If we just keep that with you until the drop add period's ended, and then we start billing the school or the state. Yeah, just wanted to let you know that, not to freak out if you see that there's a bill in here. So, all right, any questions yet? I know this is a lot of information thrown at you in a short amount of time, and I do apologize for that. But there's just no really good way to share all this information and knowledge we have. So, okay, so we're gonna go into D2L. So this is where you're gonna go for classes, right? So you're gonna log in right now. Currently, you can just log in with your star ID and password. This is going to change coming up next week, I believe. So eventually it's gonna be, you're gonna have to log in with your Microsoft login. It's also, that login's also used to log into your email and then your OneDrive, which you'd have like PowerPoint, Word, Excel, those sorts of things. And I can have Pamela drop in what that login's gonna look like. So it's going to be your star ID at go.minstate.edu. She can drop it in the chat. I definitely would recommend like putting that in your notes app, in your phone, or writing it down somewhere so that you know, remember what it is when that occurs. All right, so to get in here, this is going to be kind of what your D2L looks like. Over here, you're going to have access to your email. You're going to have access to OneDrive. Again, you're going to have the Outlook in there. So your email, your PowerPoint, your Excel, your Word. that you can utilize. You can also download that to those programs to a device if you choose. Again, it's just talking about Navigate 360, and then there's another app called Brightspace Pulse. And so I'm going to just choose iPhone here. And so with this Brightspace Pulse app, you can access D2L on your phone. So it's a little more accessible than logging in through the desktop version on a phone. So if you want to check your course or deadlines or anything like that, and you're like on a bus going to a sporting event, this would be a lot quicker for you to just check those things. Students really like this app, so I highly recommend that you download that. The only downside to this app is that you can't access your email, which is very important, because that's the only thing instructors will only email you on your Minnesota West email, and so make sure that you are checking your email and doing that through another means, whether you are forwarding it to a personal email, or you download the Outlook app, or you're logging in often and checking it. Brian says log in daily, by the way. All right. Any questions so far? All right, I'm gonna keep going. So over here is where your courses are going to be. So a lot of you, if you've already registered, you may see your courses in here grayed out. So those will open August 25th. Some instructors do open their courses a little bit early for you to go in and navigate around. So if you have one of those courses, be sure to go in there and check it out. Over here, we have new student orientation. Highly recommend that you take a look at this. Everything we are talking about today is really in here. So you can go into content and just find your topic, and it should show you like maybe a screenshot or have a video attached information. So if you're like, hey, what did she say about this? You can try to find it in here, and so it's available to you. It should be available to you throughout your experience with us. Otherwise, you can always reach out to anybody at the college, especially your advisor. And then finally, your courses. So you have access to Success in Online Learning. This is like a little course that helps you figure out how to navigate D2L. And this is not required. It's highly encouraged, but that is available to you. But I'm going to log in here and just kind of pretend it's like one of our classes. So let's say the instructor is going to have a welcome email, probably have their syllabus right here. They may have deadlines over here, they may not. So every instructor sets things up a little differently. So make sure you go in there and really figure out how it's set up, where your due dates are, and that sort of thing. You have access to Read Speaker if you need that. Up here are just some different tabs. So you may go to content to find all of your assignments. So there's a welcome that's due. Okay, I completed that. Course section 1 through 9, I completed that. So just go around and really play around in it and see where things are for your course. You can see all the individuals that are within your class under the class list. You can check out discussion boards. You may have to post discussions. You may have to reply to them. Your grades, you can check them here. Assignments, that is not how it normally looks. But the best thing is resources here as well. So you can go to the Lark Library if you need. And Brian's going to touch on this a little bit further, but you can access our tutoring services here. Or you can access tutor.com, which is also available to you. And those are all free resources. This is a 24/7 tutoring service that you can utilize, and there's tutors all over really the world. And then so you can set up an appointment with them and schedule a session. You can drop off work to be reviewed if you have like a writing assignment. So it's a great resource that I highly recommend you utilize to make sure you're successful. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about a little bit just about our email. So your email should, if you've already registered, you should have generated gotten an email generated. So you would need to go set that up. So you're going to need to log in with your Microsoft login, that star ID at go.minstate.edu, and get that set up with a multi-factor authentication. Again, I can't stress this enough, like set up your email, because your instructors will only respond to your Minnesota West email and only email your Minnesota West email. So make sure you are accessing that and you're checking it often. You can go in there and forward it to personal emails, but if you're going to reply or email your instructor, you're going to want to log into your actual Minnesota West email to do so. The other thing I should note is that there is, when you're setting this up, it's going to direct you to download a multi-factor authentication app. And I just encourage you to maybe not do that and select the, I want to choose a different method and then have a text sent to your phone. We just have some issues sometimes with that state authenticator app, and to reset it, we have to contact the state and we need like 3 forms of ID from you in person. So you have to do like a Zoom appointment with one of us or come in. So just go with the, I want to set up a different method because we can fix that a little easier. So. All right, Brian, you're up next.
Whoa, that was a lot of stuff, Jen. You're thorough. One point that Jen said, and I can't reiterate this enough, check your Minnesota West email daily. Okay, daily. I can't tell you how many times I hear this from a student. Well, I didn't know that I didn't turn that assignment in right, and so I got a 0 on it, and now I'm failing the course. I say, did your instructor email you? They did like 2 weeks ago, but I just now saw it. Sorry, that's a 0. Check it every day. Okay, get in there every day and check it. That is the only place that instructors will email you, is to your Minnesota West email address. They will not email your high school address. They will not email your iCloud or your Gmail or anything else. They will only contact you at your Minnesota West email address, and that's for safety. That's so that they know that it's you receiving it and there's no funny business going on. So, all right, book ordering. I would love to tell you that our Minnesota West book ordering is super cool and easy, but I don't like to lie. It's not great. We're working on it, but it's not great. So I'm going to share my screen here again and get going. Any guesses where I'm going to start with this? See if you guys have been paying attention. Any guesses to where we're going to start? Yeah, our webpage. Minnesota West. Everything's going to go through here. Okay, you're going to click on current students. And we're going to scroll down. Jen showed you your e-services. She showed you the D2L, your student email. All right, down here, we're going to go to the bookstore. Okay, so we click on the bookstore. Online bookstore. Okay, now there are, if we scroll down here a little bit, there's order books online, how to order textbooks. Okay, there's a great little video demonstration that you can go through if you're struggling with this. Okay, all the different things. Okay, the return policy. Great thing about PSEO is that your high school will pay for generally everything. Okay, the only thing they won't pay for is if we have some students that take like our nursing assistant class through PSEO. You do have to pay to take that state test. Your school will not pay for that. Okay, but as far as your books, all those things, your high school will pay for those. Unless you don't return your books. If you don't return your books, they will be charged to you. Okay, not to anybody else, only to you. So make sure you get those books back on time. Okay, so anyway, that cool video demonstration there if you need it, but we're just going to go back to where it says online bookstore. The first thing you have to do is you have to create an account, okay, to order books. So we're going to go to login. Ignore this information from this cool guy right here. And we're going to go over here and say, create profile for browsing and shopping. And then you're going to fill everything out, okay? Now, again, my stuff's already in there. We're going to ignore that. Billing address, This is where it's important. Mom, dad, whoever's helping our students, this needs to be the student's information, not yours. Okay, because again, all of it's going to be tied back to their account. So make sure that they're putting in their name, okay, the address and all those things. When we get down here, the student ID, remember how I showed, I asked Jen to show you where your student ID was in your e-services? That's the 8-digit number that needs to go in here. It is not your star ID. Star ID is 2 letters, 4 numbers, 2 letters. This is just straight 8 letters to identify you. Graduation year, degree goal, you don't have to worry about filling that in. Okay, that's okay to skip that. And then you're going to submit the profile. Once you do that, then you can go in and order books. Okay, so to get there, we're going to go textbooks. Okay, and this just tells you when you can order books. So our book ordering just opened up on Monday. Okay, so we are now in that. You can open it up. So we come down here, and the other thing that Jen showed you where you can go into e-services is to get your schedule, okay, your class schedule. So I'm going to take that schedule, I'm going to have it here in my hand, and I'm going to look at my department first, and I'm going to say, oh, I'm taking Comp 1. So I'm going to go down to where it says English. I know that Comp 1 is 1101, and I'm lucky enough to have that with Daniel Bernstrom. So I put that in. The big thing to look at is make sure you have the course ID right, and then you have the right section, okay? Different sections may be taught by different instructors, and different instructors may require different material. So make sure that you have the one that is on your schedule. Don't just pick and choose, okay? And then I'm taking that awesome art class with Jerry here. That's actually ceramics class. And then I don't really love it, but I have to take chemistry. Okay, so I put all my classes in there that I'm going to do, and then I scroll down and I hit view my materials. It's going to show me what I'm going to need for each of those classes. So this shows my pottery class. Okay, I need a pottery toolkit. It is optional. I don't have to order that if I don't want to. Now it's going to make the class a little bit easier. Okay, but you don't have to order that. Okay. And then I come down here to my chemistry class and I see, oh, this is required. Okay, so I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to add it to the cart. And this is an access code. Okay, so that's not a hard book. This is an access code. So I need that. It's required. So I'm going to order that. Now, here's the thing about these access codes. If you lose them, somebody in this chat or somebody in this Zoom right now will lose their access code. You just do. Don't go in here and do it again because you'll be charged a second time. Okay. If that happens, call your advisor. We will get you the number to our bookstore. You can call them. They can help you sort it out and get that code back. Okay. If you notice here, this is, looks like a loose leaf binder. Sorry, this down here is loose leaf. Okay. So this book is optional. It's a loose leaf. You don't have to order this. Okay. If you do, go ahead and click on the used. We can't guarantee you're going to get a used one, but we'll try. And then it always offers you a binder for the loose leaf. If you have a binder on the house, that's fine. You don't have to buy one of these. Okay. But if you don't, it's a good idea to order one to kind of keep all your stuff together. Okay. When it comes time to turning these back, even though this is a loose leaf book, it is still required to return it. You don't get to keep that or use it to start a bonfire or anything else. Make sure you get it back to us because otherwise you will be charged the $150. Okay. We go down here and these are also required for this class. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. So I have everything that I need. I'm going to continue to check out. Okay. So my cart has one item in it that I'm going to check out with. I'm not actually going to check out because I don't want to take this. I'm not going to take this right now, but that's what you do. When it comes time to check out, there's an option that says financial aid, third-party billing, PSEO. That's the one you want to select, okay? And that one will make sure that it is charged to your school, okay, and no one else.
You want to talk about the shipping?
Yep, so when you do that, you have two options, okay, when you order your books. You can either have them shipped to your home, okay, or you can pick them up in Worthington. There are no other options. Those are the two options. It's a flat $10 rate to have them shipped to your home. Now, at the end, when it's time to return those books, we have a few schools that are set up with a special thing where you can take them back to your school. Your school will let you know that. Otherwise, it is your responsibility to get them back to Worthington, to the Worthington campus. You either have to drop them off in Worthington or you have to ship them back. You do have to pay to ship them back if you go that route. Okay, your school won't do that. You have to do that. Okay.
Hey, Brian, can you
Yes.
talk about kits? If a student, let's say they were a cosmetology student, they're going to take a cosmetology class.
Yeah.
How does the kit work, and do they need to order that separately since that wouldn't be covered by the school?
Yep, you should probably order that separately, and you're gonna have to pay for that yourself. Our kits for those things, like our cosmetology kits, are not cheap. I just got an email out that our full kit for Cosmo this year is $1,829. Your school will not pay for that. You are on the hook for that yourself. The reason being, that kit is everything you need to be a cosmetologist. It is your clippers and your scissors and your mannequins to practice on. All the tools that you need to do that profession are included in that kit. So you get to keep that and use that for your profession. So your school will not pay for that. You're on the hook for that yourself. Okay. Same thing with tools. Like I have some students that take welding classes. Your school will not provide the PPE that you need. They will not provide your helmet. They will not provide your gloves, your boots, your jacket. You are on that on your own because you get to keep those things afterwards and use them. Okay.
I do want to say, like, if you are taking a course like a diesel or electrical or cosmetology, and you are unable to afford such items, there are some programs out there, not through Minnesota West, but through the workforce centers that do provide grants to students pursuing those types of careers. And would help possibly have funding to help with that. So if that's something that you're worried about, like reach out to your local workforce center. Just to throw that out there, because I've had quite a few PSEO students that will be receiving funding through them.
Mhm. And each of our campuses has one of those people that resides on campus at least sometimes. In Jackson, we have she's there every Tuesday. So, okay, so again, just reach out to your counselor and we can get you, or to your advisor, and we can get you where you need to go as far as that goes. Okay. All right.
Did you talk about like returning like the lab kits for example, like art appreciation?
Yep. So any kits that you get, any lab kits, like if you take biology, okay, and you do a dissection at home, yep, they're going to send you an animal to dissect at home. We don't want that cat back. No, thank you. Throw it in your garbage. We don't need the tools back or any of those things. Okay. The dissection kits, we don't want those back. I say that jokingly, but it has happened that we get those things returned to the bookstore. Okay. It creeps Amy out, our bookstore person, so don't do that. Again, just make sure you get those books back. That's the important thing at the end of the season or at the end of the semester. All right. Did I cover books well enough? Okay, perfect. Moving on to more fun and important things. So again, back to our website. I'm going back here. And again, everything starts from there. So now I'm going to go over kind of our student supports and campus resources. Okay. So again, Jen's talked about this, but it's just really important for us to let you know that you are a Minnesota West college student now. Okay. I don't look at you as a high school student. Jen doesn't look at you as a high school student. You're a college student. Okay. So what that means is that we want you to participate in all the on-campus activities that you want to, okay? With that also, we have some student service support things that are also available. So again, under our student services, this is where you're going to find so many of those things. The advising, academic support, okay, so we can click on that. The academic support, we have our advising there, and then we have tutoring services. So if you're struggling with a class, you can go to your tutoring services. That Navigate 360 app that Jen talked about, we can use that in order to schedule an appointment with a tutor. And we have two types of tutors here at Minnesota West. Okay, well, actually, I guess you could say three. We have some tutors on campus in person. Okay, Worthington especially, our bigger campus, they have some tutors available on campus in person. And then we have tutors that are actually employees of Minnesota West that will meet with you one-on-one virtually. You schedule your appointment with them as well. And they can have some specialties. Okay, so Stacy, she works with our nursing students. Okay, Dan down here, Dan is into the physical education, geography, history, sociology, English classes. I will say this, and I'm not trying to, if you need a tutor for physical education, come on, you guys got this. All right, and then we have John, who is agriculture, development economics, these different things. You can read right here and what they're proficient with tutoring you in. And then we have tutor.com, which you can access here, or you can also access it back in that D2L that Jen showed you. You can access it there under the, what's the tab called, Jen? Resources. Under resources, you can access tutor.com. When you go to tutor.com, it is always free for you, okay? And there are professional tutors there available to help you. You can set times up with them, or you can just log in and there'll be someone there magically, okay? And then peer tutors may or may not, depends on your campus, if we have any peer tutors that are working or not, okay? So that's that information there. Back to here under the accessibility disability services, that's my tab. That's where you come to see me if you need accommodations. Like I said, you have in that IEP or that 504 plan, or if you're currently seeing a provider for anything like the, again, depression, ADHD, anxiety, things like that, we can possibly get you some accommodations here at the college. Okay, so everything's kind of written out here pretty simple. And then you can reach me right here by hitting this button, okay? And get to me if you need any of those things. What documentation is needed? If you need that, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but your IEP from high school, your 504 plan from high school, or a letter on their letterhead from your provider is what we need, okay? Well, Brian, I'm having some of those issues, but I can't see anybody. I haven't seen anybody for that. Well, great news for you, because we actually have someone that you can see, okay? Mental health and wellness, we have a provider on that works for the college. Her name is Kathy. She's fantastic. She can see you, no cost to you at all, okay? Very private. You don't need to worry about your insurance or anything. It's already covered by the college, okay? So if you need that support, you can go in and meet with her. We also have this free virtual high quality mental health and wellness support services for students. So the same thing, Mantra Health, you can go in here and you can set up a time to meet one-on-one with a professional, okay, if you need those services. And then something that we started last year is this Together All Peer Support. It is a website, think of it as, I don't know with you kids, I say Reddit, but I'm an old guy. But it's really like a community chat. So you can go in and you can chat with peers and kind of look at people that are maybe having some of the same issues, just get together with them, talk about what they're doing to be successful and things like that. Now, parents, sometimes we get a little worried about this. I do want you to know, and I think it's very important to know about this. This chat is monitored by professionals. Okay, behind the scenes, it is monitored by professionals. So if at any point there's a student in danger, maybe they're talking about harming themselves or harming someone else, or maybe they're on there being a jerk and bullying people, we have a professional that will step in, okay, and not let it escalate. So it is a safety use for your students, and for your, like I said, for your students, so they can get in, meet with those other students to kind of help them get through that. But just know it is monitored, to make sure that everything is kosher there. All right, basic needs and food pantry. Basic needs, shouldn't be a whole lot that you guys need as far as the food pantry stuff. We do have pantries on all of our campuses. If you're on campus, you need something, grab it. If you're having problems at home and you're not having a lot of food at home, feel free. You don't have to let us know you're taking stuff. It's, we're pretty discreet about it. Take what you need. No questions asked. Okay. Technology, we do have a limited number of Chromebooks that are available if we have a student that needs access to that. Okay, we can check those out on a case-by-case basis. But again, it is a limited number. So if that is something that you feel like you need, make sure you get hooked up with your advisor sooner rather than later to make sure that there is still one available. Okay. And that's that with this. Now I'm going to move into my least favorite topic to talk about. It's our SAP appeal. Okay, so SAP is satisfactory academic performance, making sure that you are performing at a high enough level that you can continue on with your college degree. Okay. The requirements that we have at Minnesota West, you have to maintain at least a 2.0 GPA. Okay, that's a C average. And then you have to complete 67% of your courses. Okay. Earlier, Jen talked about that W, that withdrawal. So if you do withdraw from a class and you get a W on your transcript, it does not count against your GPA, okay? But it does count against your completion percentage, okay? I have seen this a lot this year. I probably have 4 or 5 PSEO students on academic suspension right now, and they have a 4.0 GPA. Well, how does that happen? Well, it happens because they registered for 3 classes and they withdrew from 1. They got an A in the 2 classes that they kept, so they have that 4.0 GPA, but their completion percentage is 66%. That means they get to go on academic suspension, okay? So really no fault of their own. You don't think about that, but it is something that adds up later. So make sure that if you're signing up for classes, you're able to finish those classes, okay, and get through those. If you do find yourself on academic suspension, not all is lost, okay? That doesn't mean that you're done in college now. It means that we have a little bit of work to do. Okay, so we're going to go here to, again, under current student forms. We're going to scroll down to registration forms. And this top box is the academic suspension appeal form. It's an electronic form. It goes through everything here that you need for that. Okay. I recommend if you are in this position, reach out to your advisor, talk with them before you do this. You have 30 minutes once you start, and you have some documents that you need in place. So your advisor will help make sure that you have all that stuff gathered up so that you can get in, get the appeal done, and go from there. Not going to spend much time on this because we're not going to need to, because we're not going to have any issues, right, gang? Perfect. But if you do, things happen. We understand that. If those things happen, reach out to us, let us know. We will help you get through the process. Okay, that's why we're here.
Do you want to talk a little bit about like eligibility for high school with grades they receive with us?
Yeah, so we're gonna go over that too, and why it matters. So, what's the big deal? What's the big deal, Brian? I got a couple of W's, no big deal. I got an F, but I also got 4 A's. Yeah, that's great. That F means that you are ineligible to play high school sports. It means that you're ineligible to participate in FFA, participate in robotics, participate in speech. Okay. what happens here does reflect your eligibility at your high school. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're eligible to do all those extracurricular activities that you want. That's why it's real important when we talked about before you go ahead and withdraw from a class and get that W, check with your counselor at the high school. Many of our high schools do treat that as an F on your report card. Okay, and that will make you ineligible for sports and those things. Okay. If it happens at the end of the first semester, you'll be ineligible the first 9 weeks of that second semester, which is a good portion of the basketball season. Okay, so we just want to make sure that you're keeping up on your grades so that you can continue to participate in all those activities that you love participating in. And also, those grades follow your transcript. They are on your college transcript. So even though it's a W, okay, I get this all the time. Well, I don't care about my academic suspension because I'm going to Minnesota. I'm going to Mankato State when I leave Minnesota West. That's cool. Go Mavericks. You're going to be on academic suspension there too. That suspension follows you through all Men's State schools. Okay, so you're going to have to make sure that we get that appeal done and get you back in good standing. All righty. Early alerts. Your instructors, if you are at risk, that's what we get as advisors. We get an at-risk notice, and you'll receive that same notice from that instructor. Hey, you're not doing so great right now. If you continue down this path, there's a good chance you're not going to pass this class. That generally comes actually in the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the class. And so you have plenty of time at that point to fix what's going on and get back on the right track. Now, if you wait until week 12 or week 13 of that 16-week class, odds are it's too late. Okay, so make sure we all have things. We have hiccups. We forget to turn an assignment in. We bomb a test, things like that. Catch it early, and we have time to make those things up, okay, and fix those issues. Whether it is meeting with tutors, whether it is, talking to an instructor about maybe redoing an assignment or something like that, whatever it is, the sooner we get to it, the better. All right. And then, like I said, that GPA and completion rate requirements, 2.0 GPA, 67%. That's where we need to keep it in order to make sure that you stay eligible at Minnesota West and then eligible for your high school sports and everything. All right. I think I covered everything I was supposed to cover.
You
Did I
did.
do okay, Jen?
I was just gonna say you did great, Brian.
Yes, I rocked it.
A for Brian. All right. So, do we have any follow-up questions that that anyone has, or that Pamela needs to follow up with? And I also want to just mention before you guys all vanish here that we are going to drop in a survey in the chat. Again, that's an opportunity for you to kind of tell us how we can improve, but also it gives you an option to put your information in there if you'd like an advisor to get a hold of you if you're struggling with something, and we'll be reaching out. I also wanted to share that if you're not able to get a hold of advisor right away, because right now is just a really busy time, so we have appointments and things get a little bit bogged down, you can always reach out to our communication center. They're available to help answer questions. Specifically, if you are struggling with your book order, you can call them. Accessing your email, if you can't log in and you're not sure what to do, they can help you with that. They're just a really great resource to really kind of help you get through all those quick questions or any issues you're having if you can't get a hold of your advisor right away. So with that, Pamela, do you see any questions there?
Yep, I did just put the survey link in the chat, so you can go ahead and use that. But also, we do have a couple follow-up questions. So I figured some other students might have these questions too. For the student email login, they're going to use their STAR ID at go.minstate.edu, correct?
Correct. So that is your Microsoft 365 login. So that is how you're going to get into your email and your D2L, the Microsoft login, that's our ID. at go.minstate.edu. Your actual email address, so like if Brian were to email you, he's going to use your first name dot last name at live.mnwest.edu. So they're two separate things, but the login is that Microsoft 365 to get in there. You probably don't want to click it, Brian, because it will access your email there.
I know. I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna go incognito,
All right.
and I want to show you guys. Like I said, we get this question all the time. If you go to current students and click on this email, all you have to do is follow directions. It shows you here exactly what to put in. It shows you star ID at gominstate.edu. Okay, so just follow that format. It shows you exactly. If you forget, it's right there. Okay, every time you log in, this will pop up and you can see that there.
And
that's all I want to show you guys.
And if you guys, so if you're not able to get in, so say it gets up to your password and say it's not recognizing you or whatnot, you're going to need to go back to that Star ID self-service portal, which I showed you. You can click Need Help by your e-services and reset your password. So do not reset your password through the Microsoft link here. You'll need to go to the Star ID self-service portal.
So right here, Need Help login, and then Star ID self-service.
And even if you think that you are putting in your password correctly, I just went through this yesterday with a small group of students in person, and you may think it's right. Just try resetting it because that's probably what's wrong.
Yeah, the system does make you reset your password every 180 days. Okay, so
yeah.
if you applied, if you did your paperwork for PSEO back in January, February, it's time to change it.
And sometimes you're able to log into everything else and that darn email just doesn't like that password, so you're going to have to go reset it. So great questions. Any other questions?
Yeah, and then there was the other one about email, lots of email questions. So the question, or I guess this brought up a question about, could students maybe forward their email to a personal email that they check more often?
Yes, absolutely. So you can do that, Brian. There is an option to forward your email to a personal email. However, if you, so you would go into the settings in there and you would, it will pull open some different choices. And then if you, like towards the bottom, there's a forwarding, you just type in the email address and hit save, I think. And it doesn't really do anything after that. It's just completed. So that is an option. The only thing that I want to caution you on, that if you're going to want to, Instinct's going to want to reply to that instructor then with your personal email, and they may not reply to that, right? So I would then log into your Minnesota West email to reply to any instructor emails. So
Yeah, so maybe you could use it as just a way to make sure you're not missing emails, but still being able to log into your Minnesota West email is important for sending emails. And then just one follow-up, Brian, you may or may not know the answer to this about books or kits, but I figured maybe more than one person would have this question. So with cosmetology kits, for example, could a student, since PSEO students have to still pay for those, could they set up a payment plan to pay for the kit? Or do they just have to pay it all in one chunk on there?
Theoretically, they could probably make a payment plan, but this is the catch. Our payment plan, so let's say that you buy that kit, okay, and then you buy the your school will buy the book. So you buy the kit, we're gonna use round numbers. Okay, we're gonna say it's $1,900 for that kit. You cannot register for next semester classes until your balance is below $501. So theoretically, sure, you could do that, but you're not going to be able to register for those second semester classes until that balance is down low enough. Okay. So I would just say plan for it. You know that's coming. If you can plan for it. I have students all the time that say, well, can I apply for financial aid? Nope. Because one of the requirements for financial aid is you have to have your high school diploma. So not an option either. Bummer, I know. But yeah.
So if you did want to try setting up the payment plan, you can do that in your e-services. So you would go to that billing and payment section, I believe, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can set that up there, but important to note about getting that balance down. And I don't know if we mentioned, but spring registration will start November 1st. So you would just want to plan to hopefully be having your balance under that 501 by then if you can, or just knowing you'd be registering later.
And again, I want to say, like, if you're needing assistance paying for that, and you're within Southwest Minnesota, you should really contact your advisor, or you can reach out to me and I can send you information on those PIC grants that are available through the Workforce Center in our area.
And I don't see any other general questions on here. If anyone else has more, feel free to, you can raise your hand or you can send them in the chat again. Otherwise, make sure you're doing that survey for us so we can keep improving. Let's see, more email questions.
Email's the worst.
Um, do you think you could maybe pull up that link, Jen or Brian, for how to set up email?
Yeah, Brian, do you want to, are you?
Yep, I already got my whatchamacallit up here, so we'll do
Okay.
this.
Oh, okay. So this one is, how do I change? Oh, I think this maybe is fine. So the email looks like your star ID, not your name. How do you make it look like your name? It's going to look like your name to everyone else, right?
Yeah. So this is super confusing. Okay. So when I go here to my current students and it says student email, that's a lie. You're not logging into your email there. What you're logging into is actually your Office 365 suite. Okay. So in this suite, when you log in, everything you're gonna have access to Word, you're gonna have access to Excel, you're gonna have access to PowerPoint, all the software that you may need to complete a college class, you're gonna have access to in here. One of the things you have access to there is Microsoft Outlook, and Outlook is actually your email. Okay, so that's what's a little confusing. It says email login, but actually you're logging into Office 365 Suite. So that's what you're logging into. Your email address is your first name dot last name at gominwest.edu. Okay. Does that make sense? And so when you send an email to your instructor or to someone from your Outlook, it will show your name. It won't show your star ID.
Right, and don't give out, so a lot of students I see do this, they'll give out this star ID at go.minstate.edu as their email address. This is not your email address. It's your first dot last name at live.mnwest.edu. So just keep that in mind. The star ID, you should never give out your star ID.
We treat your star ID like your social security number. Because you can do so many things with it. Once you have that, you can register for classes, you can drop classes, you can change your password. So yeah, don't treat that like it's your social security number.
Great questions. You guys have any other ones for us?
I think that's everything.
Okay. We appreciate you joining us. That was a lot of information in a short amount of time, so we do apologize for that. But we are here to help you, and we want you to be successful. So I guess the most important thing about PSEOs or just being a student in general is to contact us and reach out if you're struggling at all or have questions. Contact your advisor. Don't be afraid to contact your instructor. They are humans and they will respond, and they do understand that life happens and stuff. So don't be afraid to reach out. And I find that most students are more successful when they're willing to ask questions and contact us right away when they have issues. So again, thank you. We'll stay on for a little bit in case anyone else has questions, but we appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming and hanging out with us, everyone.